Shabbat Shalom, friends. It's so good to see you. Welcome. On this Shabbat morning, we have so much to be thankful for. We're all so excited to be here for Elliana, who will be called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. A great milestone for her and for her wonderful family and for her broader community. We're so thrilled to be here with her. She's going to do great. And of course, it's our last bat mitzvah of the whole year, and we're super excited to end on such a high note. A couple words regarding our service. We're going to ask you to keep your cell phones off and away. We're going to ask you to keep your mask on unless you're actively leading the service. And we're going to invite you to join in the service, to take the prayer book in your hands, to join in our readings, join in our prayers, join in the music to the extent that you're comfortable, and give yourself therefore the gift of being really here, being present with us, giving yourself the gift of Shabbat. We're going to begin, as we always begin, with a little bit of music to help ourselves to settle in as we sing Ma Yafeh Hayom on page 128. Turn in our prayer book to page 287. If you have the narrow Shabbat edition of the prayer book, you can look at the blue numbers. It is not we alone who pray, all things pray. All things pour forth their souls. The heavens pray, the earth prays, every creature and every living thing prays. In all life there is longing. Creation itself is but a longing, a prayer to the Almighty. What are the clouds, the rising and the setting of the sun, the soft radiance of the moon, and the gentleness of the night? What are the flashes of the human mind and the storms of the human heart? They are all prayers, the outpouring of boundless longing for God. To present Elliana with the talis that she'll wear not only on this special day, but hopefully on many future special occasions over her Jewish journey, it's my pleasure to welcome forward now Greg Albert and Joan Albert.
As I wrap myself in the tali, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kichanu b'mitzvotav, B'tivanu lahi tatef b'tzitzit. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
And just a couple of words about this talis. This talis has been in the Albert family since 1956, when my great-grandfather brought this from Israel. My father wore this at his bar mitzvah. My father wore this at his wedding to my mom. He wore this at my bris, embarrassing. I wore this at my bar mitzvah. I wore this at Gabriel's bris and our marriage with Elaine. And now you get to wear it today.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness in my heritage, may I be worthy of it. May our traditions live in me and pass from me to generation I shall never know. Enriched by the truth that I have found, the good deeds I have done, so may I fulfill the task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirits into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbors as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
We'll sing together Matovu on page 290. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah uvaravo nikavim chalulim chalulim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar, umafli la'asov. We join now in a series of blessings known as Nisim B'chol Yom, which have us acknowledge the miraculous in our own lives, the miraculous within our own story, with the idea being that on Shabbat especially we're meant to be attuned to a bigger picture, something larger than homework and errands and headlines, that we're meant to see our fullest selves and the beauty that exists in our world. Nisim B'chol Yom helps us to do that. We sing together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sefri bina le'avkin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei kaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten layav koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu la'asok b'direi Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with the words of Torah. Please turn to page 313 and rise for the call to worship. Barhu et Adonai Hambarah, Baruch Adonai Hambarah Le'olam Va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give, the morning of my Torah. My special human gift is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. You are who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hameh Orot. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear, in every word, every land and age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways, and yet, O God, you are unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir in our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, haboher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malhuto Leolam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malhuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might.
As we continue at the bottom of page 319 in our prayer book, it's my pleasure to welcome forward Suzanne Wotring.
Love Adonai, your God, with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all. My Mitzvah, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Shira chadasha shibichu geulim, nishim kol sfatayom, yachad kulam hodu, v'imlichu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
We come now to our most central collection of prayers known as our tefillah, which you can find beginning in your prayer book on page 323. Please rise.
Adonai, sefatartita, ufia gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'tzoher Hasdei Avot Be'imahot, Umevi Ge'ula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shimon Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umashia Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, Melech me'mit u'mechaye u'masmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv al Nevi'echa v'karaz el zeh v'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melech al haaretz, kivodo. Adir, adirenu Adonai, Adonenu matir shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kivod Adonai bimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu Malkeinu, hu Moshiachenu v'hu Yashmi'enu, b'rachamav le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohim, yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Zion, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קודלך, לנצח נשחקים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו יבינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We may be seated. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדות ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכרי למעשה בראשית שבת. זכרי למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
As we do turn in our prayer books to page 330, it's my pleasure to welcome back to the Bima Greg Albert.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiven of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us the patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shiatech lihavat v'yara na'avad.
We come now to a prayer for peace. Each Shabbat we pray for greater peace in our world, and we're well aware of the fact that our world feels so very broken so often these days. There is heartache, there is bloodshed, there is prejudice. Sim Shalom is our prayer for greater compassion, greater kindness, a greater level of togetherness among the human family. We can find our prayer for peace on page 334.
Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Chen v'chesed v'rachamim Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Amecha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha.
We'll pause now for a moment for the sake of our own personal prayers and reflections.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our service for the reading of Torah this Shabbat morning, can be found beginning in your prayer book on page 363. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. To assist us with the opening of our ark, it's my pleasure to welcome forward Gabriel and Ariana Albert. Please rise, everyone. Meet all the grandparents.
כי מציון תצא תורה, ולבד אדוני בירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ולבד אדוני בירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו, תורה לעמו ישראל. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמה. גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממו שמו יכתב.
Elliana, in just a moment, we'll pass this sacred scroll down through the generations into your very hands. And we do this at the center of our service, in the middle of our service, at the heart of our service. And the Torah is at the heart of Judaism. It's the book that we've turned to and returned to for generations when we've most needed direction, courage, help, hope. This is your book. And in this book are stories that I pray give you strength, give you direction, give you help, and when you need it most. You're standing with your parents, with your grandparents, and you can imagine a long imaginary line now of all the people who enabled your very life and therefore passed the Torah down through every generation so that we could arrive at this very moment right now and place the Torah in your waiting hands. And you must know, Elliana, that you are so loved, and we are so proud of you, and we're so proud to know you and be on this journey with you. Now, we're going to hear some words from your own family members, starting with grandparents.
Whatever has befallen us, our people have remained steadfast in loyalty to the Torah. It was carried in the arms of parents that their children might not be deprived of their birthright.
And now we pray that you, Elliana, may always be worthy of this inheritance. Take its teachings into your heart, and in turn pass it on to your children and those who come after you. May you be a faithful Jew, searching for wisdom and truth, working for justice and peace.
Adonai o gedula ve'gevura ve'tifarat ve'anetzach ve'ha'od ki ko b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki ko b'shamayim u'va'aretz lecha Adonai ha'mamlaka ve'amid nasi lecha lerosh.
We may be seated. Shabbat Shalom again, everybody. Okay, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom, and then you are going to say Shabbat Shalom. Watch this. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, that was so good. That was really good, guys. So we are about to hear the Torah portion of this week, and if you can tell me what the portion is, I will give you a prize. Okay, I guess nobody wants a free iPhone. Ve'ha'alotecha. Ve'ha'alotecha. That's what you were going to say. It is the third portion in the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So we're in the fourth book of the Torah, and we're in the third portion of that book. Ve'ha'alotecha. That's one word. What does it mean? It means when you illuminate. And it's a reference to the fact that the Israelites were wandering 40 years across the wilderness, are now approaching the promised land. They've created this big portable synagogue. They'll call it a tabernacle. And the last things they're putting into this temple are lights. Not lights like candles and lamps for illuminating with oil and things like that. And the commentators will note that there's so much attention given to the lights that go into the temple. I mean, the whole creation story in the beginning of the Torah is shorter than the explanation for the lights of the temple. And why might that be? the world. And with that, to bring justice, to bring fairness, to bring compassion, to bring healing, all of the things that you have it in you to bring to other people. We all have that in us. So that's a little bit of the ha'alotecha. We'll hear more about it. And if you would like to follow along, you can turn in the Torah commentary to page 1075, 1075. With the honor of our first Aliyah to the Torah, it's my pleasure to welcome forward Joan Albert, El Bat Zvi Hesh.
Bahu et Adonai Hamavarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarak Le'olam Va'ed. Oh, Baruch Ator Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher B'Habanu B'Kol Hamamim V'Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. V'daber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el Aharon ve'amarta elav ve'ha'aloteha et hanerot el mul pnei hamenorah ya'iru chiva hanerot. Vayas kain Aharon el mul pnei hamenorah ha'ela nerotecha ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Talam Olam Nata V'Leheinu Baruch Atah Adonai Elohein HaTorah. Amen.
The honor of our second Aliyah to the Torah, it's my pleasure to welcome forward Jack Dunkelman, Yaakov ben Nusan Kala at Yafu.
Baruch Hu es Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher B'Chabanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Nasan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'zeh ma'aseh hamenorah miksha zechav adirecha apircha miksha hiv kamara asher her'a Adonai et Moshe kain asa et hamenorah v'daber Adonai el Moshe lemor ka et halviyim mito b'nei Yisrael v'tiharta otam.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Nasan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Notah B'Sochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten
Torah. Amen. The honor of our third Aliyah to the Torah, it's my pleasure to welcome forward Paul Cram, Pinchas ben Tzvi Hesh.
Baruch es Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bacha Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'ho ta'aseh lehem l'taharam hazeh alehem mehatat v'he'eviru ta'ar akol besaram Vehi besu videhem vehi teharu. Velakehu har ben bakar min hato. Solet belulav ashaman ufar sheni ben bakar tikale hatat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei haolam naseh b'tukenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Beautiful job.
It's my honor to welcome forward the honor of our fourth Aliyah, Greg and Elaine Albert, Baruch Gedalia ben Avraham Halevi ve'Elaine.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'hikravta Ehavim lifnei ohel moed. V'hikravta ekol adat b'nei Yisrael. V'hikravta Ehavim lifnei Adonai. V'samehu b'nei Yisrael et yidehem Ehavim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
It's my honor and privilege to officially call to the Torah now as a bat mitzvah, Elliana Albert, Elliana Bina, bat Elaine ve'Avigdor. Please rise, everyone.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'heniv Aharon et Havim tinufar lifnei Adonai me'ed b'nei Yisrael v'hayu la'avod et avodah Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tovu, simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tov. Yeilanu, 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 uliko Yisrael. Yeilanu, yeilanu, uliko Yisrael. Simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simen tov. Yeilanu.
We're going to remain standing for another moment for the lifting and dressing of our Torah. To help us with Galila, dressing our Torah, it's my pleasure to welcome back to the Bima, Ariana.
Bezot HaTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Israel al pi Adonai biyad
It is our custom at this important point in our service that we pause in order to offer a prayer for healing for those in our lives, those in our community in need of healing. Perhaps there is a name that you hold in your heart at this very moment, someone in your life who is struggling, suffering, hurting in some way. Now's the time we pray for them. And we pray together in the name of their return to strength and wellness. As a congregational community on this Shabbat, our prayers are very much with Elliana Cohn, Rick Ulrich, Lynn Romsberg, Jerry Dreskin, Ann Marsden, Sarah Oken, Gary Garnick, Michael Infanti, Shirley Friedlander, Jen Jones, Jocelyn Jackson, Mary Mednitsky, Murray Kemmerman, Rick Forenau, Todd Pollard, Dr. Jerry Herman, Carrie Basin, Hudson Hodge, Harriet Rosenberg, Ari Sobel, Carol Schaefer, Jordan Maverick Steinberg, Tricia Tepper, Barbara Cohn, Mary Parker, Louis Alahat, Karen Bowen, Joan Major, Marcy Gittler, Mindy Fisher, Stephen Trombecki, Lisa Ager Brown, William Broderick, and Lily Tepper. If there's a name you'd like to add to this list, someone for whom you offer a Misha Berach, a prayer for healing, please feel free to do so now as my glance meets your own. Our prayer for healing, Misha Berach, can be found on page 371.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Elliana.
That was exciting. My tour portion is mainly about a tribe called the Levites, who were given the task of building the first temple ever. They built this temple while traveling through the wilderness on their way to the land of Israel. The Levites are in fact the tribe my family is from. I also have learned while studying my Torah portion that after building the temple, the Levites were given the responsibility of lighting up the temple using candles of a menorah. I know, you're probably thinking, why would you light a menorah if it isn't Hanukkah? Well, there is a Hanukkah that is a special menorah used on Hanukkah, which has 9 candles, and a menorah that is used all the other times, which only has 7 candles, as you can see. This really relates to me based on what I have learned and saw during my recent trip to Israel, but we'll talk about that a little later. So Jews were given the task, asked by God to light the menorah and keep the temple illuminated. God also asked the Levites to be super clean in the state of purity before lighting the menorah. This may sound odd, but God instructed us to be pure before engaging in religious ceremonies. In case you were wondering, I did take a shower before my bat mitzvah. My Torah portion has lots of different notes I just sang, as you obviously just heard. But this portion relates to me more than any other portion would. As we know, there are a lot of Jewish holidays, but the most interesting thing is that most of them has to do with lighting a candle, at least in some way. We light candles on Shabbat and at the start of most Jewish holidays. In my Torah portion, we read about lighting a huge menorah made of gold. Light in Judaism symbolizes understanding, intelligence, and awareness. My Torah portion, which has a really fun name to say, Beha Lateha, also relates to me because it talks about the journey that Jews made to Israel. And I recently traveled there during spring break. I mean, I didn't walk as the Israelites did, but I flew on a plane and drove all around our beautiful homeland. I'm guessing if the Jews in the Torah could have flown there, they would have. My journey was not just a trip to Israel, but a journey with ups and downs that had occurred over the past 8 months. This journey to my bat mitzvah was not easy at all. I had to study my Torah portion, develop and execute my mitzvah project, write this speech, and help plan my party. You might think planning a party would be fun. I've discovered it's the complete opposite. It's a lot of work and very stressful. My mitzvah project was called Play It Forward. I collected youth sports equipment to donate to underprivileged kids. I'm very fortunate and lucky to be able to play any sport I desire and have the equipment I need at my fingertips, thanks to my parents, of course. Unfortunately, that is not the case for everyone, which I learned in this past fall. My school soccer team played a charter school in Trenton. I was shocked by what I saw when our bus pulled up in the field. The other team was using mismatched equipment and handmade t-shirts as uniforms. I was so ashamed as we climbed off the bus because the girls on the other team looked at us in awe. We had a brand new matching uniforms on and nice cleats. That night I told my mom what happened, how shocked I was and uncomfortable it was that the girls didn't have real uniforms and some didn't even have cleats or shin guards. That's when I knew what I wanted to do for my mitzvah project. I wanted to help light up other kids' life by giving them the ability to play sports, that they can have fun, try new things, discover hidden talents, make goals, and who knows, maybe even they can see a chance for a future of a scholarship for college. With my parents' help, we designed flyers to get the word out there, which was received very well by the community. Even the Morristown Sun newspaper came to my house to interview me because I thought the project was great. Morristown and surrounding communities have been helpful with their donations, that my one garage is overflowing with equipment. And when I say overflowing, it's full. I have already donated equipment to the Camden U14 softball team that had nothing, and I am of the process looking for a rec center, underprivileged sports teams, and summer programs to donate the rest to. I'm hoping this project can come for years to come. I would like to thank all the people that helped me during this journey. This may take a while because there's a lot. First, I want to start with the most important that has been with me every step through the whole process, Cantor Sandy. Thank you for putting up with me with all the internet issues on Zoom calls and not always being prepared. I really do appreciate you being flexible and understanding about my crazy schedule, juggling with school, multiple sports, and my well-known personality flaw of procrastinating. Next, I would like to thank Larry for preparing me to stand up in front of you all and for all the encouragement that I can do it. It definitely helped me gain the confidence I need to do this. And now I would like to thank Rabbi David for being able to meet and support me through this journey. I would also like to take the moment to say I'm going to miss you very much as you leave the synagogue. You have been with me since 3rd grade. It is an honor to be your last bat mitzvah at Adath and Manuel after 10 years here. Lastly, I would like to thank my family, most of all my parents, for helping me see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know this journey has been bumpy, and we had many arguments about studying over the past 8 months. But I'm happy I'm standing here now and appreciate all that you two have done to get me here. My Torah portion was selected by chance on when I was born. However, I do think I was lucky that I got this one because it relates to me in a way that I think no other portion would. It talks about the Levites, which is my family's tribe. It talks about the journey to Israel, which I was fortunate enough to take. And it talks about the light, which I believe my mitzvah project will shine a light of hope on kids that are less fortunate by giving them the opportunity to play sports they may never have the chance to play before. Shabbat Shalom.
That was so good. That was so good. Elliana, you did it. You made it. You did it. Can you believe that? You put in all the work. You set aside all the time. You did your amazing mitzvah project. You stressed out a bit. Well, here we are now. And here you are, sitting there, I hope, feeling really, really proud of yourself at the end of a long year, at the end of a long process. Here we are, surrounded by friends, by family, as you take this next step in your journey. Elliana, we're proud of you, and we're proud to be here with you as you celebrate this great simcha. Your Torah portion of Beha'alotecha certainly gives us a lot to think about, as you noted. We learn about this early synagogue our ancestors created and transported through the wilderness. The portion opens with lights, how it was illuminated, a reminder that we, the Jewish community, have always sought to bring light into the world, the light of peace, the light of justice, the light of compassion, in a world that can too often feel darkened by violence, by strife, by hate. We have an obligation to bring light to those all around us. Your portion will also touch on this interesting and often overlooked idea of what's called a Pesach Sheni, a second Passover. The idea is that anyone who didn't have a chance to observe Passover at its proper time, maybe because they were traveling, or they were sick, or they were in mourning, can now take part in a kind of do-over about a month later. While the literal concept may be lost on us a little bit today, I think we can appreciate the fact that the Torah is interested in second chances. It reminds us again that Judaism believes in second chances, that we shouldn't be so quick to judge others, but should give them a second chance. That we shouldn't always be so tough on ourselves, but should give ourselves space to try again and maybe get better, whether it's regarding grades or relationships or sports. Yom Kippur, our Day of Atonement, of course, is all about second chances. Simchat Torah, when we start to read the Torah again each year, is also about another chance to embrace and to learn from our Torah. Elliana, today is a day when you start anew as well. We say goodbye to being a little kid, where you're totally dependent on your parents and those all around you. And now we welcome a new time, a time of greater independence, greater responsibility, and new opportunities for you. And I know that you'll bring to adulthood all your energy, all your enthusiasm, your wisdom, your kindness. You'll bring all of your light to our world that so very much needs it. And personally, I can't wait to see where you lead all of us going forward. Now, if I can invite you back up here to the podium for 1 second. I'm going to make a little presentation now. Okay, so this is where we get to chat for a second. How are you?
Very relieved.
Relieved. That's a very honest answer. How do you feel like it went?
I felt like it went really good.
It went amazing. It went amazing. It was amazing. And that's because of you. You are amazing. You really are. You're welcome. You really are. You have this spirit and this energy and this, you have a great smile. There's just so much to love about today. And you've given all of us the gift of being here with you. And it really is. It's a special day for you, but in truth, it's a special day for all of us. Now, I have a couple of gifts for you. Do you like gifts? You do? Yes. Okay, well, that's a relief for me. So, here from our Sisterhood and Men's Club, your own candlesticks, speaking of light, and you can use them on Shabbat, on Jewish holidays, as you said. These are yours forever. This is your own copy of the Torah to have and to keep. It's a little bit more portable than a giant scroll, so I hope that this is something that you'll treasure. And then there's a series of certificates which you can look at later, but the one I want to draw attention to now is the certificate that you and I both signed earlier today. That feels like hours ago, right? There, you signed it. I signed it. I said I was going to give it a special signature as my last one, and I did. I think I did.
I think you did.
I did, okay. Well, this certificate is meant to remind you always of this day, that you stood up here in front of everybody, and that you chanted from the Torah, and that you inspired us, that when you come back to the certificate down the road, you're reminded of the fact that you did it, and more than anything, you're reminded of the fact that you can do anything you set your mind to, which I know you can. That's what this certificate symbolizes. And my own prayer for you on this day of many prayers, Elliana, is that you be blessed always with health, with happiness, lots of laughter, lots of love. And together we can all say, Amen. Shehechianu is a blessing we share at the most joyous moments in Jewish life. Today certainly qualifies. So we're going to welcome Gabriel back up to the bima. Here he comes to lead us in a Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehekianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, for keeping us alive, for taking care of us, and for allowing us to reach this special day of my sister's bat mitzvah.
Nice. That's so good. That was so good. Good job, Ben. We're going to welcome Eliana's parents back to the bima so that they can share now a special word on this special day.
So this won't be the last time you heard this today. Okay?
All right.
Mazel tov. All right? So we have a couple of short words to say, but I have a lot more to say later at this party you referenced, that there was a lot of work to be done. There's more coming, all right? But this is serious business. With tremendous joy and pride, in the presence of God, friends, family, Rabbi David, Cantor Sandy, this congregation here, we offer you this blessing, Elliana. As you begin to enjoy your new status among the Jewish people, may God grant us the wisdom and strength to guide you, Mom and Dad, enabling you to live in accordance with the teachings of Torah, to shape your perspectives and live an impactful life. Impactful life. Be curious, explore, be adventurous, soak up everything, have fun, and be generous. Make a difference. Don't sit back and watch. Go for it. Lean in, jump in, take risks, be involved, help others and this planet. Honor your Jewish heritage and traditions. Have a purpose in life. Let me say that again. Have a purpose in life which will give meaning to your life. May you pursue justice and be a blessing to others. May you feel passionate about the social injustice in the world today and do your part to repair the world to Kon Olam. May you not just be smart, which you already are, but seek wisdom. May you look beyond the surface of things, explore, and constantly ask simple questions about the world. Simple questions like, why? Simple things. Life is about making choices. May you always have the courage and good judgment, both of those things, to make good choices in your life. We love you very much and stand here as proud parents for all of the accomplishments that you've made. Mazel tov.
We are going to continue with our service now as we rise together to prepare to return the Torah to the Ark.